I had good stability all throughout my life. My mother's in corrections. My father's held the same job throughout my whole life. And I graduated from high school in 1995, and I started hanging with the wrong crowd when I got into college, and I was introduced to drugs, introduced to crack cocaine, and I became addicted to it. And throughout my addiction, it took me places that I never dreamed that I would go. Prostitution, stealing, stealing from my family, abandoning my children, in and out of jail, just so many things that I took myself through along with my family, and it can happen to anyone. I was raised in a Christian family. My grandfather was a pastor of a church. You know, my parents never expected something like this to happen to me, and it was real hard on me. I've been to this prison 3 times. The 2 times that I came before, I had the help of my parents. They were always there for me, but they turned to tough love this time around because they're raising my children. You know, something that's hard for them to do. You know, they raised me. It's time for me to raise my own children. And when I got back to jail this time, my parents refused to accept my calls. My mother wrote me a letter saying that she didn't want anything else to do with me until I changed my life. My kids, they don't really know me, and my son, I've hurt him more than I imagine I could hurt anyone, you know. Since I've been here this time, I have learned more than I have before, because it was so easy for me before. It was like a time for me to rest up, to go back to the streets, but this time I've learned something. I've learned that there is life out there for me besides being a drug addict. My children, they need a mother just as well as I deserve to have a life. And God put me on this earth for a reason, and through Him, He's going to give me the strength to, and He showed me what purpose I have here on earth. What I really want to say is that drugs, that's not something that I want anyone to experience. The advice I give to children is that if you think that you want to experience with drugs, please talk with your parents about it. Be open, because your parents, they love you. They want what's best for you. And if only I could have been honest with my parents about my habits, maybe my life would be different.
Michelle, 2 things. Number 1, you say you grew up in a Christian home. You say your grandfather is a pastor. Mm-hmm. Your mother is a correctional officer. Your father has a job that he's had all his life, so a good upstanding community. And you went to high school, you graduated, and you started in college. Now, having said all that, now how did you get hooked up with it in the first place? Was it from a boyfriend or a girlfriend or what?
When I first used drugs, I was with a female friend from college. You know, at first I tried it and I wasn't interested in it, and then I just started hanging with that same crowd. You know, she came from the same background I did, so, you know, I don't know exactly how she got started on the drugs, but, you know, I did it to fit in, basically, you know, and from then on, once you try, you know, it's hard to stop.
What was your highest you had to pay for drugs in a day's time? How much drug did you use? Was it just a little bit here, a little bit there?
At first, maybe $10 to $20 a day. Then my habit got up to maybe between $1,500 and $2,000 a day.
One question: where'd you get all that money from?
Prostitution, basically. Stealing from my family. Any means necessary to get the drug. Now,
when you said $2,000 a day, are you saying that was just one day out of the month, or was that several days in a row?
That's basically one day. I could.
So the next day was $2,000, and the following day would be $2,000.
At the most, yes.
Should your parents, the very first time you got in trouble, how should they have treated you so you wouldn't come back the second time? What did they do wrong?
My mom, she pressured me a lot to do the right thing. She didn't talk with me. She wanted what she wanted from me, you know, and I didn't know how to do that because I really needed treatment, and I didn't have treatment when I was here before. And
so the very first time you got in trouble, your parents should have done what?
Gotten me drug treatment and talked with me, asked me what they could do to help me, not what they felt like was right.
Would you have told them, you think, at the first time?
Yes, I feel like families should have an open relationship, and yes, if my parents, I would have told them, but some parents you just can't talk to like that.
What about the second time?
See, when my parents, I couldn't open up to them, I ran from them. Instead, I ran. So instead of coming after me to help me, they left me.
What advice would you give another young lady that's going to college, that's been, you know, in the crowd with drugs? What counsel would you give her?
To someone like that, I would say, stay focused on your studies. Focus on the Lord. You know, if you have issues that you need to discuss, go to a counselor at school. Don't hold it in, you know, and pray. Basically, that's what I'd say.
So that's the key, is praying. Now you've learned to pray. What you're about to do, you can't do it on your own. Now, one thing you got to understand, Christ in your life has to be in there to change. You cannot change yourself. Because, I mean, we're all the sinners. We just can't change ourselves. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 would be an excellent verse for you to remember. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he should direct your path. Trust in the Lord with all your heart.
Right.
And lean not unto your own understanding. So if you can't go to your own understanding, whose understanding are you going to go to? The one that's in the book.
That's right.
So spend time daily in the book. Daily in the book. And as you do that, the Lord will reveal to you how to raise your child, how to have a relationship, you know, with the whole life. Because you can't do it on your own. If you could do it on your own, then I would say throw away the book. But you can't. Nobody can.
Right.
See, dirt cannot, see your beautiful suit or dress you have on now, can it clean itself? If it was dirty, what would you have to do?
Wash it.
Okay, it can't wash itself. You can't say, hey, lay there, be clean. Well, that's the same thing with our life. We cannot do it on our own.
Right.
If you understand that, God will bless you. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you.